Hotel El Rancho by Omar Cuellar. Patrick, a 46-year-old man, was driving his old sedan along the iconic Route 66 in New Mexico as the setting sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Beside him sat his mother, Elena, 68 years old, clutching the headrest, her face tight with pain. She suffered from Horton's disease, cluster headaches so severe they felt unbearable. Patrick drove carefully, fully aware of his mother's fragility, heading toward the nearest hospital in Albuquerque. The dusty, history-laden road stretched out before them, and the silence inside the car was broken only by Elena's quiet moans. In Gallup, New Mexico, exhaustion from the journey and Elena's worsening condition forced them to stop. They decided to spend the night at a place that looked like it had stepped out of an old postcard, the Hotel El Rancho, a legendary establishment that had once hosted Hollywood stars in its heyday. The building, with its rustic facade and retro charm, promised a welcoming refuge. Patrick parked in front of the hotel porch. As he helped his mother out of the car, she looked up at the sign above the entrance. The charm of yesterday, the convenience of tomorrow. In a voice broken by pain, Elena looked at Patrick and murmured, "Son, how I wish I could go back to the past, to those days when I didn't feel this pain that's consuming me." Her words, heavy with nostalgia and suffering, struck Patrick deeply. He hugged her tenderly before guiding her inside. The lobby was decorated with antique furniture, black and white photos of famous actors, and an unmistakable air of another era. The few staff members were kind and greeted them with smiles as they led them to their rooms. That night, Elena slept deeply, something she hadn't done in weeks. The next morning, something extraordinary happened. Elena woke up with no trace of pain. For the first time in months, her head was clear and her body felt light. "It's a miracle," she told Patrick, her eyes shining with hope. Surprised but deeply grateful, he decided to extend their stay by one more day to make sure she was truly well. Strangely, the hotel seemed almost deserted. There were no other guests, just them and a handful of discreet staff members. But this didn't bother them. Elena's recovery was the only thing that mattered. Over the following days, Elena remained completely free of pain. Though relieved, Patrick began to notice odd details. The hallways were always eerily silent, the lights flickered from time to time, and the staff seemed to avoid any real conversation. Despite these peculiarities, his mother's happiness kept him calm. They decided to stay another week, enjoying the peace of the place. Elena walked through the hotel gardens, admiring the flowers and recalling stories from her youth, while Patrick watched, thankful to see her so alive. But the idyll broke when they tried to resume their journey to Albuquerque to see a doctor. Just a few miles outside Gallup, Elena suffered a devastating attack. The pain returned with merciless fury, making her scream and clutch her temples. Desperate, Patrick turned the car around and sped back to the Hotel El Rancho. The moment they crossed the threshold, as if by magic, Elena's pain vanished. Color returned to her face, and she sighed with relief. "This place, there's something about this place," she murmured. Convinced that the hotel had some kind of effect on Elena's health, they decided to stay 2 more days. During that time, she showed no symptoms at all. Yet Patrick began to feel uneasy. The absence of other guests and the almost ghostly atmosphere of the hotel were starting to weigh on him. Still, he couldn't ignore the fact that his mother was well. Maybe it's the air here, or the tranquility, he thought, trying to rationalize the inexplicable. When they tried to leave again, the same thing happened. A few kilometers from Gallup, Elena suffered another excruciating headache, so intense that Patrick feared for her life. Without hesitation, they returned to the hotel, and once again, the pain disappeared the instant they stepped inside. This time they made a more drastic decision. During that period, Elena not only remained pain-free, she seemed to grow younger. Her energy returned, her laughter filled the rooms, and Patrick, though happy for her, began to feel a tightness in his chest. As the days passed, something unexpected happened. Patrick started experiencing headaches. At first they were mild, just a twinge, but soon they turned into unbearable migraines, eerily similar to the ones his mother had suffered. Now fully recovered, Elena looked after him with concern. "I don't understand what's happening," she said, bringing him cold compresses. Exhausted by the pain, Patrick decided he needed medical help. He left his mother at the hotel, promising to return soon, and drove to the nearest hospital. Miraculously, as he moved farther away from the Hotel El Rancho, Patrick's headaches disappeared. At the hospital, doctors found nothing wrong. Confused but relieved, he decided to research the hotel. Sitting in a cafe with his laptop, he searched online and found a dark forum discussing local legends. One story in particular caught his attention. It was said that the devil resided in the Hotel El Rancho, and that his purpose was to isolate people, separating them from their loved ones through deception and curses. A chill ran through Patrick. The story fit too perfectly with what they had experienced. He decided to return to the hotel immediately to warn his mother. He drove back along Route 66 at full speed, heart pounding. When he arrived, he ran into the lobby looking for Elena. He found her sitting calmly in an armchair, reading a book. "Mom, we have to leave. This place is cursed," he exclaimed, ready to tell her everything he had discovered. But before he could say another word, a sharp pain pierced his chest. Patrick collapsed, his vision blurring, his breath cut short. The hotel staff rushed over quickly, but there was nothing to be done. A massive heart attack took his life in seconds. Devastated, Elena wept over her son's body, unable to comprehend what had happened. The staff, their faces expressionless, comforted her and helped her back to her room. The following days were a whirlwind of grief for Elena. Unable to face the outside world without her son, she decided to stay in the hotel. Something about the place made her feel strangely at peace, as if time had stopped. The staff treated her kindly, and little by little she grew accustomed to the hotel's routine. She never learned of the legend Patrick had uncovered, nor of the dark presence that, according to the forum, lurked in the shadows. The Hotel El Rancho continued to operate, its signs still promising the charm of yesterday and the convenience of tomorrow. Elena, now almost a ghostly figure, wandered the hallways, unaware of the truth. The staff, always attentive, watched her with a mixture of compassion and something else, something unreadable. No other guests arrived, but that didn't matter. Elena had found a home. Or at least, she believed she had. On nights when the wind blew along Route 66, some claimed you could hear whispers in the hotel. Voices that didn't belong to the living, laughter that wasn't human. But Elena never heard them. She lived her days in a deceptive calm, trapped in a place that had healed her at a price she would never understand. The devil, if he truly dwelt there, had accomplished his purpose, to isolate, to separate, and to keep his prey in a prison disguised as paradise. And so the Hotel El Rancho remained, a reliquary of forgotten stories, a place where past and present intertwined under the gaze of something far older and far more sinister. Elena, alone yet unaware, became part of its legend, an eternal guest in a hotel that would never let her leave.